Welcome back, everybody. Welcome to 3D Hangouts. You got myself, Noe Ruiz here.
Hey guys, I'm Pedro Ruiz, creative tech here at Adafruit.
That's right, and we come here every week to bring to you guys DIY electronics with 3D printing.
That's right.
Cool projects.
That's right. We got an awesome assortment of segments every week. Noah, what do we got going on this week?
This week we got the same the same segments every week. We start off with, what are you prototyping?
That's right. It's when we take a look at some of the upcoming projects we're working on for a future episode.
And then we'll take a look at some 3D news.
That's right. It's always an awesome assortment of cool goings on in the world of 3D printing.
We got a weekly video every week.
That's right. This week it's a review on the all-new Printerbot Metal Plus.
All right, and then we'll end the show off with the layer by layer segment.
That's right. This week we're going to be taking a look at some of the slice settings and profiles that we use for some of the projects.
Right on. All right, we'll start off the show. So, Pedro, you're working on something pretty cool. I think we should show people on the overhead.
All right, so last week I showed off a prototype of a future project that we're working on. This week I finalized the design and reprinted it in our silver PLA that we offer in the shop. It has a very nice metallic look, has a little bit of sparkle to it. And then we're using the all-new semi-flex for the hilt here. Give you a nice cushiony grip feel. So definitely can't wait to show this off. We'll be debuting this next week.
And if you folks are on Google Plus, you probably know what it is. Oh man, I like how you're holding out. And what is it? We don't know. I've been working on last week's project. I showed you what I worked on, and this week I made another one. This is, of course, a DIY Bluetooth 3D printed gamepad. This time I made it in pink. So it's a nice little color combo of pink, black, gray, and white. Ninja Flex buttons here. We'll talk more about it. I'm working on the guide and the video for this. So guys, watch out for that. Very cool and fun project. Can't wait to share it with you guys. All right, and speaking of those components and the filament, you can get all that stuff at the Adafruit shop, 10% off.
That's right, the coupon code this week is PLUS. Expires at 11:59 p.m. Doesn't work on software or gift certificates.
Okay. So why don't we go into the news now? Now, we know what the weekend is, the worst holiday ever. Or maybe it isn't if you got a 3D printer.
That's right, we got Valentine's projects. This is a very cool project that was just uploaded not too long ago. It's a little gear keychain heart.
That is so awesome. Let's take a look at some photos of this. This has been downloaded like 6,000 times already on Thingiverse. It is featured. I can see why. This thing is such a clever and easy design. You saw it there rotating, and there's lots of different things you can do with this.
Yeah, so you can do a little different colors. You can even do a dual print of
Dual print? Oops, not that yet. A dual print? Where's that? Right there.
Yeah, so you can do cool things like a dual print as we're seeing there.
Very cool.
You can totally customize this to your liking.
Yeah, there was a quote on this one. I really like the quote because it weaves very well into the actual design here. I think it was, "You're the gear on the right, or on the left, I'm the gear on the right. The gear in the center is what keeps us in sync." Or I love it in sync.
Yeah, pretty cool, a little poetic.
Very cool. Now, next up, well, to sort of bleed into the next one, we've done a couple of Valentine's projects last year. Is that right?
Yeah, so this is the Valentine's card that we worked on last year, and it's being held together with bare conductive ink to make the connections to the LEDs, and Adabot's heart here. We're using little gears that sort of, once you apply pressure to the gear, you can sort of bridge the connection to those two. And we're just using the change filament option here. You can just paint it, and you can print the gears out separately and add the LEDs.
Very cool.
Here's what it looks like when it's working. If we go over to the overhead.
Sure, let's take a look at the overhead. Time to go into overhead time. Here it is.
Yeah, so check that out.
It's
all it is it's about a year-old project. Still works perfectly.
And you can
as
customize it.
Yeah, as you can see there, you're just applying pressure that's bridging the connection. The copper and the little coin cell batteries there. It's a fun little neat project that you can print out just in time for this week.
So if you're looking to get into really easy electronics, here's a really cool way to do that. Yeah. So how about another project that we did, a little bit different, Valentine's related? A very delicious one. This is one I put together. This was a really easy one too. Testing out some some material, some food-safe material to make a mold.
Yeah, so we're using some silicone food grade little mixtures here to create the molds for the chocolate that you can melt on the inside there. So you can get our 8-bit hearts on our Thingiverse page.
It's a very delicious
create your
one.
own delicious chocolates. And you can also create your own sayings. Some tips and tricks on that video if you want to check that out. Making your own chocolate molds.
Okay. And now to shift gears, a little bit of too much lovey-doveyness. Let's look at some more sort of heartwarming on a different level, huh? So remember we saw a couple weeks ago, we saw a lovely kid who got a Star Wars themed prosthetic. That was just one kid. This time we have an event that had a bunch of different families, the families that came together and builders and makers of Universal or actually Marvel.
Yeah, this was
Universal
Marvel
Live.
Universal Live. It was an Enable event which brought all the kids together so they could sit there and build their own prosthetics. They got to choose all the colors and the superhero themes, and you can see here that they're putting it all together.
So these kids are learning how this stuff works, mechanically design driven, and they have the power now to build and understand how it works. And 3D printing is really what's bringing it all together here.
I'm sure there's a lot of inspiration on design techniques and, sort of, empowering, these kids to sort of, build their own.
Take the power, man. This is like a superpower. It really is. And what's great about this event that it was a lot of different things going on there. So we have kids doing arm wrestling, kids that are building the arms, and even sort of little training and stuff. And this is
so
really
one of the dudes there, Vince, did some training, which looks like some, fighting moves. One of the cool heartwarming things here is this little girl picking up this bottle for the first time. Very heartwarming.
So amazing. This is the best application for 3D printing by far. It is definitely awesome. So if you are interested in that, definitely check out the enabled community. It's growing every day, and I love seeing, I hope more workshops and things like this happen. It's very cool.
Also got some new Ninja Flex material in that would be perfect for these types of flexible prosthetics.
Yeah.
Got some
I mean,
cool
we like all the
colors
cool colors, but these are some really nice, sort of delicious colors, right? These are named a little bit differently. This one is Almond Peach Smoothie. We got Caramel Candy. And of course, we got Rose Gold Blush. Very nice. What are we going to do with these, Rachel?
Yeah, so this would be very cool, like special effects, like prosthetics for like your face or like maybe some muscles or appendages or something like that. So they'll definitely blend in with skin color or some prosthetic hands or legs or something like that.
It doesn't have to be too weird, It could be, something else.
Definitely a cool addition to the Ninja Flex family of colors.
Right on. Now to change gears in a little bit, how about some more fun tools? Look at this.
Yeah, so this is a rubber band mini blaster. It shoots, I think it says here 72, or it can hold up to 72 rubber bands and shoots about 7 rubber bands a second.
How does this thing work?
Yeah, so this is using a right angle single-sided gear motor, and says there that you can easily swap out the barrels so you can keep shooting.
Okay.
You can claim your corner of the office with this.
Oh my God. So you can print this out right now, free to download?
Yep.
Oh my God. We got the link for you guys in the description below and in the blog. So check that out. That is such a fun one. Okay. And then next up, we got a nice hack for your current 3D printer. Let's say you want to print maybe a circuit board.
Yeah, so this is one of the cool
flexible circuit board
little demos that they're showing here. It's a little holder for a pen, but this could usually be like, say, some bare conductive ink or some silver ink to create some little test traces and make a little circuit here. This is a cool little mod somebody made here. Mike 3D made for his i3 Persia.
Very cool. And you can download this. And is there some custom G-code to go along with this?
Yeah, it looks like the G-code is included in the Thingiverse file there.
Oh, that is so wonderful.
Yeah, definitely check this out.
So you can modify your printer today. Yep. Okay, moving on. We got a cool display enclosure for you. Yeah, this is a classic design.
Yeah, this is a Philco Predictia TV. Okay. This was designed by James Dremmers. You see a lot of these in like old movies and TV shows, and even in like video games like Fallout. So this is a 3D printed bottom with a pine stained mahogany
wood. Very cool. So I like traditional woodworking, and you add some 3D printing into it. I really like how he has the infill as like sort of the texture.
Yeah, it looks like a 30% infill there. So it's a 7-inch LCD with an HDMI switcher. It has Chromecast, audio amplifier, stereo audio converter, and it's using 5 and 12 volt power supply that he took apart from an old AT&T cable box.
Oh wow, so it's got that little retro tech into it too.
Yeah, definitely check out the downloadable files for that on his Thingiverse page.
Okay, wonderful.
Cool designs up there.
Very, very cool. And then next up, we got a crazy one. What happens when a billionaire has a yacht and he wants a big, giant 3D printed Jaguar? He calls up Materialize and says, "Hey, hook me up."
So they're using this massive 4 meter by 2 meter tall, ginormous stereo lithography printer here to print this ginormous Jaguar.
Oh my God, it's just so massive I can't even focus. Look how big this giant cat is.
Yeah, so this ended up weighing like 220 pounds. And
oh wow. And the material guys, they went through the whole process of not just printing it, but sanding it down, finishing it, and then making it look not 3D printed, right?
Yeah, a lot of people forget that there's a lot of finishing work that has to go into this. And as you can see here, they're using some chrome painting.
Oh, wow.
To give this platinum look.
A lot of metal bolts and things to make the interior structure so the thing doesn't just fall apart. So very awesome achievement in design, too.
Yeah, and if you scroll through there, you can see that they actually went out to the yacht and set
built
this up for him.
Yeah, they had to assemble it there on the yacht. They had to. And
battle those
raining.
The elements, yeah. And they're using a 0.5 millimeter layer height to sort of speed up the print.
Okay.
And when it was all said and done, it was 13 foot long by 6.5 foot tall. Very awesome addition to a very nice yacht.
Of course. So that's a really cool one. All right. Shout out to you, Materialize.
Next, in the world of video games.
Oh man, this is a great one. My favorite project. Remember the Super Game Pi? A lovely person on Thingiverse, Kasarabon, took the Super Game Pi concept, remixed the STL file or the 123DX file, and made it so that it could print on a Printerbot Simple. So any printer that's 150 by 150, you can now print this design and make the awesome Super Game Pi project. But Kasarabon named it the Super Game Pi PSP.
Super Game Pi SP.
And here it is working. It's got emulation station. And if you're using, the new Pi 2B, I'm sure you can actually do PSP, right? Very cool. And this is exactly the type of stuff we want you guys to do. Take the project that we have and customize it and solve problems that fit your application, right?
Yeah. So this is definitely like Legos, where you've designed a lot of the components and done all the measuring, so people can just sort of rearrange these around and sort of design their own closure and fit it to their needs.
Yeah, a lot of people are digging it. I think it's a better design than mine. It's much more cleaner. And
if you go back to the circuitry parts there, you can see that instead of the buttons, he's using circuit board there to set up all the tactile buttons.
So perf board and tactile buttons is the way to go if you don't want to hack up a beautiful retro Super Nintendo game controller. Okay.
Definitely check it out. You can download the files on his Thingiverse page.
Right on. Shout out to you, Kasarabon. Thank you so much. You are awesome. Now, how about another holiday-related thing? Now, we got, Valentine's Day coming up, but how about if you're Chinese?
Yeah, so for the new Chinese year,
New Year's,
Paul Su designed this very awesome one-piece, print all in one piece sort of fan.
Yeah, the Chinese
Oriental folding fan.
Yeah, these are typically made with paper and wood and other things. This is the first time its design has been made for 3D printing, so this is amazing. Very awesome, and it's the year of the goat. I know that means something.
Yeah, so it's the lunar year of the goat, and in Chinese and calligraphy, you can see right on there, that is what it says.
Yeah, printed in wood filament?
Yeah, so they're using golden a wood filament to do the printing on there, and it doesn't even look like wood.
It's been 3D printed, yeah. Doesn't look like it's been printed.
Yeah, very awesome detail.
So if you have... you want to celebrate Chinese New Year? Do it in style with the 3D printer. The year of the goat. 3D printed goat, maybe. All right. Now here's some other cool stuff. Here's a tool. How about you can turn a tool into another tool? Here's how to turn your Dremel into a table cutting saw.
Yeah, so this was designed by CAD Fab, which is perfect for cutting materials such as wood, steel, epoxy, or even small screws.
Screws.
Yeah, so it has a table extension for larger pieces or to offer more stability or control.
It's got a guard too, so the sparks don't hit you.
Yeah, a little protection from sparks when you're cutting steel.
Put together with some machine screws, probably ABS or maybe polycarbonate or nylon. A lot of different materials that can withstand a lot of stress and stuff. So you can download it right now. Download it over the weekend. make your part, make your Dremel into a cutting table.
Yeah, so it's definitely one of those mods that turn your tool into a different type of tool.
That's
very
right.
awesome to see.
Okay, is that all for the news?
I think that is it for the news. Let's go
Okay.
ahead and jump into this week's project video review of the new Printerbot Metal Plus.
Everybody's dying to know about this printer, Pedro. You had a good 3 weeks or a month actually now of printing it and testing it all in its glory. Tell us about the printer.
Yeah, so it's really the bigger sibling to the Printerbot Simple Metal, offering a 10 by 10 by 10 printing area. It has linear rails for some awesome smooth motion. It can print large objects. Has a very nice design, powder coated metal.
It's so simple and elegant looking.
Yeah, so if you're familiar with the Printerbot Simple Metal, this is going to be very familiar to you.
Okay.
It has an aluminum build plate, so you can also get a heated bed option. But for PLA, it should be just fine with the blue tape.
Very cool. Now you got an SD card if you want to tetherlessly, but it's kind of too simple. You need a...
Yeah, it's a little too simple that it doesn't even have a on and off switch, but luckily you can get one in the shop. We have a 2.1 millimeter barrel with a that'll act as the on and off switch you can get.
Very cool. Now you're telling me about the new railing system, right?
Yeah, so the linear rails offer much smoother motion of the X cartridge, and a lot of the wires and motors are all nicely tucked away behind the folded powder metal coated structure. Which is very nice. A lot of the other printers out there have all their wires hanging out. They have
No, in terms of design, it's a very well constructed, very sturdy build too. Yeah, now, how about the direct drive?
So we have a direct drive. Yeah, we have a direct drive system here. We're using the UBIS ceramic hot end. It can go up to 270 degrees, I believe.
Oh, wow. So you can print some nylon?
Some nylon with the heated bed, yeah.
Very cool. How about the speed? How fast does this thing go?
Yeah, so we're going up to 90 millimeters a second here. And it's using the Z probe that you can see here. It's doing the 3-point auto level, which turns out really good for a lot of the automated level.
Stuff, yeah? Okay. Very cool.
So prints come out incredibly flat once you get all that set up. I really like the way that the finish that a lot of our prints are coming out of this. It's approaching. It really can get better quality than the Replicator 2.
Wow, that's saying a lot because the Replicator 2 is a workhorse machine here.
Yeah. So a lot of the projects that we see here.
Enclosures, nice flat surfaces. You need to have very flat bottoms, and well, this one can be leveled very nicely and have a very absolute flat bottom with
definitely
with very high accuracy, right?
Yeah. Pause it here, and you can see that with a big printer, we always like throwing very practical big prints at it.
So what is this? This is an iPad 2 case, right?
Yeah. So a lot of the smaller printers just don't have the area to print this. And this is definitely like our second, sort of hello world, object, since iPads we use it for a teleprompter and a lot of the Instagram stuff. Yeah. So it's something that we're always holding. We don't always see any imperfections in it. And this the Printerbot Plus is able to handle it no problem. It actually prints all the way to the edge of the bed.
So this edge-to-edge printing, oh my God! And it's all level. That's a big deal. Like some of the other printers, you'll print this thing and
it'll start getting unleveled at some point.
You'll always have it on something's always unbalanced. So
yeah,
but not on this one.
We were happy to see that the retraction, like we're seeing here, came out excellent. This is the retraction test. This is the
Helix Caddy is what I call it.
Yeah, so a lot of the printers that we get in, this is one of the second prints that we throw at it to make sure that what's the fastest we can go with in terms of retraction and speed.
Cleanup too.
And cleanup, yeah.
Zero cleanup. It printed with no support material. And this thing, how did it come off the bed?
Yeah, so this pops off really easy, and I didn't have to do any cleanup. Like you said, there was no notable strings that was a showstopper when trying to show off quality of a print.
What color was it? Green? PLA?
We're using the transparent green that we have in the shop here.
Okay. Now, how about this one?
So for setting up the initial Z probe, we're going to use Repetier, and just because we can send the G code command through it.
So this is one initial setup, really. You don't have to do this every time.
Yeah. So one of the problems we ran into when we got our unit in was that the X carriage wasn't, completely leveled. That was easily alleviated though by adjusting the one side of the Z rods. Since there's two on the side, you just adjust one of the sides until it's completely leveled against the bed.
Okay. And one way I noticed, it's okay, right? Like one way I noticed that you found that out is when you were leveling this side and you started dragging it over here. maybe it wasn't leveled on that side.
That's probably what happened. Yeah, it was X cartridge not completely leveled on that. And you also want to physically adjust the height of the Z probe. You also want to do this with your blue painter's tape already on, because that's definitely going to add 0.2 millimeters to the height, and
it's going to save it maybe
it'll also save it when you're trying to get it leveled for the first time. I scratched it a couple of times.
Oh no, confession here, folks. We scratched the bed, so you don't have to.
Yeah, but luckily I had the blue painter's tape on, so it wasn't as bad as it could have been.
Okay.
But
you got the piece of paper. You're always
want to use the gauge. Yeah, there's a piece of paper, and then make sure that it's completely leveled across the entire bed area before you start printing.
There you go. So you're just sort of feeling out there. Perfect. Yeah.
So once you got the initial your initial height set up, you can go ahead and set up AstroPrint, which you can get the tutorial on how to build one.
Yeah, it doesn't come with so the Printerbot's so simple. It doesn't come with a touchscreen LCD controller, but hey, you can build your own. Make your own with a Raspberry Pi, Pi TFT, or a bigger LCD if you'd like. Yeah, and then this one has touchscreen, so it's really cool.
And because of the Pi 2 now being released, you can definitely do some slicing right on the Pi. You can run Windows on it and sort of use different hosts to control all your printers now.
Very cool. AstroPrint, we definitely recommend it. It is a derivative of the Octopi project. This is very cool.
And that's
the Printerbot.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. It's definitely our new workhorse here at Adafruit. We're using this for a lot of the small, medium prints up to 10-inch cube
prints. Yeah. Super Game Pi prints on this, no problem.
Yeah, that was one of the first prints that we threw at it, and I was blown away by how crisp all of the the islands that it has to travel around look. There was no hairs anywhere. The surface quality of the bottom and the sides looked, this was like our second print, and I just couldn't believe how great it was. It was
really great, yeah. And the speed and stuff is pretty par, and at that price point, you just can't beat it for the
$9.99. You can't. Point. Yeah, it definitely beats out something like if you didn't need to go so big like a Taz, because it's like half the price.
That's right, absolutely. And we got a 10% discount for you guys today. It's plus.
Yeah, get 10% off of any of the 3D printing accessories or electronic goodies for your next project.
That's right.
Expires at 11:59 p.m. tonight. Doesn't work on software or gift certificates.
Okay, now we're going to take a look at, Simplify 3D, and we're going to take a look at our Printerbot profile, right?
Yeah, so unfortunately we just didn't have enough time to create a customized Cura one. I'm sure there's a lot of them already out there. We're reaching out to the community to sort of link us to what the best ones are. But a lot of the settings that we have here should definitely translate.
Right on. Yeah, so let's take a look at the extruder first. Now, we talked about last week about our little trick where you can lower the nozzle diameter and up the extrusion width to get a nice tool path so that you don't get that jitter mistake when you're printing enclosures. So we got that set up here, and let's talk about the retraction. 1.5.
Yeah, so this seems to be the sweet spot where it's not too fast, it's not too slow, where it's leaving string behind. A 1.5 millimeter retraction is working out pretty good for a lot of the different materials.
Now that was the distance, and the speed you were talking about was at 50. Usually we're at 30.
That's on the Tazbot. Yeah, there's a different diameter in the teeth, so
okay, that's fine.
It's able to go a little bit faster.
Right on.
Or the ratio is different on it.
Okay. Now let's look at the layer height. Now, when we're printing enclosures, which is most of our projects, we're going to leave them at 200 microns. We don't like to go to 100 unless it's for like Louise's dragon and copper.
Yeah, like statues and things like that.
Yeah, statues and things.
Also, when you're having like sort of like a slanted top, or where you're having like an organic shape, you're going to want more detail more in it, so it's not so split up.
That's right. So if you're printing enclosures, stick with 200 microns. Right. Now, we always like to keep our top and bottom shells a little bit above 2. But there's some cases where you want to have it maybe 5. Tell us
4 to 5, yeah. So when we're using a low infill density, like say 8 to 10%, when you're going up a print, especially with like what I was saying with organic shapes,
it's harder to close those gaps, man.
It's going to close it's going to be a little bit harder to close the top of that, because there's less infill, there's less material for the material being laid on top to stick to. So you want to be able to have more solid layers on top to close that out.
So you're going to change this depending on what, but with enclosures you're going to stick with 3, right? And then the shells is pretty much for enclosures again, two shells is pretty much where we stay at. But let's say you're printing Luis's dragon in copper, you're going to want maybe double, so 4. Right?
Yeah, for anything that's going to be thrown into a tumbler and it's going to take some abuse for like a couple of days, you want to make sure that the outer shells are strong enough to withstand that. We've noticed that the infill didn't really hold up.
That's right. It wasn't.
It was
about
mostly
infill,
the shell.
It was the shell was really doing it. Okay. So now we've had some people ask, like, is it normal that my first layer is thicker than the rest of the layers?
Yeah. So a lot of slicers do that for adhesion to the bed. I use it when we're doing something with a lot of support material. I like to squish it into the bed a little bit more, so because it's a thin little tower that's holding something up. As the print head is moving by, it's sort of the wind from it can sort of knock it over, so you want to make sure that it has a lot of adhesion. So I usually change that to like 80 or 90% for the first layer height. When we're using a lot of support material.
Oh, right on. And then the actual speed of it, you kind of want to have it a little bit slower than
bit slower, yeah. So it's
default
not
one.
Sort of cooling too fast.
Right on. Okay. Now you were talking about infill, so that's a little bit variable. Like we were saying with the enclosures, you don't need too much. We stick to 10, sometimes 8. And the one thing I wanted to highlight was the outline overlap. Now, why is that so jacked up? Why is it at 35?
Yeah, so like since we changed our nozzle to 3.5, the extrusion to 0.42, the size, the width of the extrusion is going to be a little bit smaller, which means it's not going to be able to bridge or connect all the way out to the outer perimeters.
So you have a teeny tiny little gap, and you want to fill that in.
So this will be like your infill, and then like it'll like stop like right there, so you don't it's not connecting. So the default is at 15%. I bumped this up to 35% so it can sort of touch the outline and sort of connect all of that together.
Now this is a great example where slice settings are really much dependent on each other, really. They're sort of weaved into each other, and they really work that way. So, okay. Now we'll take a look at, we'll skip the temperature stuff. We'll go straight into the start G code. Now the start G code is telling the printer what to do when you kick off a print.
Yeah, so to start off, we're going to use the G28 commands, which is going to home the X and the Y. And then one of the problems that I see when people are trying to home Z is that there's actually a timeout on the Z probe. So let's say you're like 250 millimeters on the Z, and it's going down. After a couple of seconds, it's going to time out and then start printing in the air. So to alleviate that, we're going to use the G0 Z5 command, and that's just going to ensure that it gets all the way down to the bottom. It's not going to do the timeout.
So if you wanted to print all wacky in the air, take that out. Okay.
Another thing that, and then after that, the last thing is the G29 command, which initiates the 3-point probing of the bed.
Okay. And you can, of course, we share this on our GitHub and our learning guide. So you can check that out if you have Simplify 3D. Of course, we recommend Simplify 3D. It is one of our favorite slicers.
Yeah, a lot of these settings should translate over onto Cura. Definitely link the best profiles you guys have seen in the comments.
All right. Well, guys, I think that's the show. That's the show for you. Thank you guys so much for watching. We want to leave you with some links and stuff. Let's do that first before I say, hey, later, everybody. So, of course, we want you guys to check out our awesome projects on the Adafruit Learning Center. There's all sorts of different projects, not just 3D printing, lots of wearable things as well.
That's right. That's where all the step-by-step, all fully documented, photographed, full guides are.
Circuit diagrams. We also got some cool stuff that we share, and you guys can also share things too on the Google Plus community.
And don't forget to join the show and tell every Wednesday at 7:30.
That's right, and show off your projects. Blog Gazette every Thursday is 3D Thursday. We got all the stories for you guys that you just saw. They're all on the blog at adafruit.com. We're also going to have them in the link description below because you guys asked for it. So you ask, and you shall receive.
Yeah. And don't forget to follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Thingiverse. I'm VideoPixel. You can follow Noe at Ekin.
I'm Ekin. That's right.
Follow all the behind-the-scenes in-work projects that are coming up for future episodes.
And be sure to subscribe on YouTube. We are just about to hit 100,000 subscribers.
I think you guys are 97,000 right now, so not too far away.
So please share our videos and let us know how we're doing. Subscribe and share the videos with your friends, your families, your inner circles, and definitely subscribe. Like our stuff. Thank you guys so much for watching. We'll be here next week. We're here every week.
That's right.
And until then, I'm Noah.
I'm Pedro. See you guys next week.
Remember to keep on printing, guys. Bye, guys. We'll see you next time.